this video about what is apparently the most lethal airport of South America. Let's take a look. We've got a 737-200 landing at a very, very unusual approach. Take a look at this. This is a clip from 1993. Here we can see the landing happening. And Jesus, can we talk about that approach for a start? That is insanely crazy. And this right here is the aftermath of having 737s flying to an extremely unsuitable airport. But yes, welcome to the southernmost city in the world, Ushuaia in Chile. Here we have a modern landing 7 years ago, which once again showcases the crazy approach that you had to do in order to land here. Because we've got mountains on the side here, with the runway being right there, you have to do like a crazy left turn on final approach and come in for a landing here. This for big airliners is quite an issue. It shows! This is a crash from the Fokker F-28. Everybody, welcome indeed to Terra del Fuego. There we have the city of Ushuaia, which of course needed an airport. As you can see, we have two airports right here. This one represents the one that we are talking about, the one with a crazy approach and the 737s running over into the water. And this right here is the new one that was built in 1995 for good. See, I couldn't find out too much about the history of this airport. It's all in Spanish. But the Ushuaia Aero Club, which, you know, the airport is now called, only has a 1,600-meter long runway, and it was there long before the new one. I don't really get why they would have built this airport in the first place, the Aero Club, the old one, because, I mean, it is true, the runway 16 is literally facing the city. Literally the worst approach that you could make on airliners, and they did it anyway. Perhaps, this is one of my theses, it would have been just a bit too hard to build an airport on this little island here. Here we have a photo from the 90s of the new airport being built. It does look like very rough terrain. You know, like most airports that were built in very early days of aviation, the Aero Club probably started off as an Aero Club, maybe with a grass runway where, you know, small planes could land, but it, you know, eventually grew into a 600-meter long runway, although the entire placing of the runway might not be suitable for big jets, and it really showed. I mean, the reason why planes crash is not because the runway is so short, but obviously we have mountains here. Those create a lot of wind shear. We have a lot of crosswind here as well, which is why the airport is now built almost orthogonal to the old one. Try to see if we can take off here. This should work without any issues. All right, 737-200. You're a little bit broken, but you should be able to do this. I don't think KLM would have flown here back in the day. All right, we do have quite a lot of crosswind here. Jesus. All right, take off now. Yes. Tail strike. Come on, 737. You need a little bit more power. Yeah, no. Well, that hasn't worked. All right, I have added quite a few winds here. 21 knots of pretty much direct crosswind, and it didn't really work, especially with a lot of wind shear, which is why we now literally crashed. Good, perfect. All right, let's try this again now. Coming in for a landing. Once again, just like in real life, we want to put out all the flaps and the landing gear. The runway is to the left, and we have to do this crazy base turn very close to landing. Really doesn't make it any simpler, especially if you're dealing with a lot of crosswind and wind shear. You have a change of wind also by turning. And see, I want to have a little bit of speed, 180 knots, just so that we have a little stabilization. It's quite turbulent as well. All right, hola passengers. Thank you for your trust. On our left side, we can see the harbor here with no boats. So that's good. All right. Seriously, how did they do this? High wind component. Jesus! All right, come on. We now need to land. Turn left. Oh wow. Oh, wow. That's literally a go around. All right, now modern airplane. We still have quite a few knots of, you know, headwind now, but it'll turn to crosswind. This, of course, is a 737 from Ryanair. I guess if Ryanair were to fly to this place, they would love this airport because of the low landing fees. All right. Man, I wish I lived in the 90s to be flying into Kai Tak Airport with a Concorde, or also this airport. So many great but very unsafe airports have been demolished. This one, though, is actually real. You just cannot fly an airliner here. Come on now. You need to do it. We're very high. I guess, you know, building the new airport was very important also for the people living here. Like, you come extremely close to the town. All right, now this is actually like generally a challenge. All right. Oh wait, we went with a little too low speed. This turn is crazy. Like, that's almost impossible to do with an airliner. All right, there we go. A landing now, and let's stop. 1,600 meters of runway, which isn't long at all. That generally is shorter than most modern 737 runways, but there we go. We have done it. We've actually stopped. Perhaps we could exit here. This has worked. Now, of course, the bigger a plane gets, the less handleable it becomes. I would imagine flying a bigger airplane than the 737 would be insane horror, especially here around this turn. I mean, we could try the A330. A plane that does fly now to the new Ushuaia airport. Here you can see an A340 here, and you can see an insane amount of crosswind. This is where the other runway would have come in handy. This is crazy. What a crazy landing. They've done this so well here with an A340. Beautiful. Let me see if we can land this A330 down here now on the old runway. But let's make it nice. Down there's the airport. Jesus Christ. How did they manage this? I mean, of course, yes, sometimes you would also be able to land on the other side of the runway, which changes a lot. But it's the 1/6 side that this airport is famous for. So let's come in. Our stall speed is going to significantly increase in this turn, which it is doing. The Airbus is not letting us do the turn fully. So there you go. Sync rate alert. You won't want to hear that on approach. All right, that's crazy. All right, now we've got autopilot turning on. We've got the auto thrust, which is trying to... There you go. That's ruined our approach. You could be able to do this in an Airbus. It turns on the auto thrust to save us, which makes a lot of sense. There we go. Try to stop now. That was crazy. Like, this is without any wind components. And I don't think you ever have wind still here at this airport. All right, but now we did it with an A330, but without any wind. Let's perhaps attempt to use the real weather that's going on right now. See, this is the weather that's going on here in real life at the moment. All right, today appears to be a pretty good day for flying. That's absolutely fine. We are on board a 747-200, a plane that could have flown here, although... You know, the biggest plane to fly here was, of course, the 737. I think it would just be lunatic to do anything bigger. I mean, just the noise alone. I mean, you would kill people's eardrums by flying above their houses, literally at only a few hundred feet. We're at 400 feet. All right, time to land. So, once again, full turn, which the 747 is just not good at. It just doesn't turn quickly enough here on this approach. It is insane. I mean, we are very fast, to be very fair. But come on, we can do this anyway, right? We can still land. There you go. Full reverse thrust. And we can land now. That was insane. I mean, genuinely. I mean, we can stop probably. There we go. I mean, this was a hard, but a very survivable landing, to be very fair. This is interesting. But what if you had some really bad winds? Maybe try to take off here. Come on, take off. I mean, facing this mountain, that is a big different story as well. Especially with such a big airplane. All right, there we go. We are now reaching the end of the runway, so I would very much like you to take off, 747. All right, beautiful. Now, the question is, how do we get out of here? Come on, climb faster. Must have been like a threateningly loud noise here above the town, but this works. We can, without losing too much speed, increase our altitude enough to actually not crash into those mountains, which is probably for the better. So everybody, there you have it. The airport that had to be desperately replaced by a proper one. The approach was just way too crazy. This right here is a 737-200. Landing in the rain, typical weather. This is, by the way, sped up, of course. I mean, you don't want to be flying your 737 this low to the ground. I mean, it's not a Cub. All right, when's the turn coming? Turn is right here. That is just insane. That is a bank angle right above these houses. And even off center line here in a 737. Imagine being off center line like this. This is the most unstable approach ever. That is great. And a landing. Perfect. Somebody, let's hope that the Ushuaia Aero Club, with its flight school and its Aero Club, continues to live a long life and maybe in a few years add some poppy or vasi lights. Yes, this is the most under-equipped runway you've ever seen, by the way, as well. It doesn't have poppy, which is crazy, especially for keeping the glide slope right on a short runway like this. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night.